Do we have to?
Let's make it quick before he makes it about him.
Alright. At number 4 on our countdown is Yoshitaka Mine.
No, I have to do this. Yakuza 3 is one of my favorite Yakuza games. I know, its combat is bad, low point of the series or whatever, but man, did this game have some of the best writing at that point in the series. And I hate that it's barely acknowledged due to gameplay factors out of its control. This game shifted the series' visuals with its new engine and animation style. The voice acting was top tier with almost every character. Kuroda brought his A game with Kiryu here. The atmosphere was so different, the very start of the game felt like some kind of OVA. This was after Yakuza 2 where Kiryu could actually die for the first time. Him taking care of kids in the first cutscene is just wild when you consider what kind of trials Kiryu was put through up to this point. Kiryu's departure from Kamurocho was somber. The game was taking a different direction from the first two mainline games, and it didn't even dip into any of the Japanese drama stuff until halfway through the game. I felt happy for Kiryu during the first half of this game, being able to run a legit orphanage unlike his late pops, you know. The first 5 chapters bring a new energy for Kiryu as a character, and Okinawa is an amazing location to pick, and its small community feeling so warm. The new cast in this game was a lot of fun to interact with too, that being the orphanage kids, Rikia, Nakahara, and Mikio. Sadly, these happy chapters do end, and then we get into the Yakuza part of this game, but that isn't a detriment, thanks to one man. One character in particular really caught my attention. His name is... Yoshitaka Mine, the chairman of the Hakuho clan and a lieutenant of the Tojo clan, is one of my favorite bosses in the whole series, and I'm not afraid to say that. You might call me crazy, but he is one of the best the series had to offer. Firstly, his VA, Shido Nakamura, is freaking perfect. That calm yet unsettling demeanor like he's trying to hold something dark back is just so awesome with Mine's character. Ugh! I could just listen to that sultry voice all day. Which is why I am excited for Dark Ties despite, some controversies with Kiwami 3. But that should be a topic for another day. Mine, throughout the game, was shown to be a no-nonsense kind of Yakuza. He's one of the new bloods that Kiryu never met till he returned to Kamurocho after 3 years. His first scene was him training in his own personal gym. Fairly cool introduction, and we also get to see his tattoo, which is already meant to set the bar of who you'll be fighting in this game. Despite that scene, he is a no-nonsense business guy, as even the game is trying to temper your expectations of him. Despite his first one showing that he is more of a fighter, like Kiryu. Date tries to tell you this after Kashiwagi's death, about the current Tojo top dogs. That Mine is just another rich and bored write-off of a Yakuza. The meeting scene between him and the other lieutenants also shows he's pretty smart. Almost sensible as he agrees to wait for Kiryu and not take any action in Daigo's attack. The game really tries to sell you that he's very calculating and a bit cold. That is until he saws Kanda's head off his body. You see, Kanda made the mistake of attacking Kiryu, and Mine saw it fit to send his head as repentance for the trouble his Kyodai caused. What the heck is wrong with this guy is what you're thinking, cause so far in the series, you've only ever seen people get shot, stabbed, or tortured. But this was a whole new level of crazy. Not just that either, what took Kiryu a few backshots to defeat Kanda, Mine did in less than a few punches. That is just one of the cool things about Mine. He is a man of action, not words. The game tried its best to make it seem like he's the opposite at first, but he was nothing like that. One thing to add is everything he's done so far has been for the Tojo. The previous bosses in 1 and 2 were a freaking detriment to the cause. But Mine? Yeah, he's been doing everything he can to keep the ship afloat. You really gotta wonder why he'd go through these hoops for a failing organization, huh? Despite Mine almost having an hour worth of screen time, you still don't get to see him that much, considering there's a bunch of other subplots in the main story. Despite all that, I think they did a really good job at trying to sell how hardcore he is. Especially with his next course of action, in order to keep the Tojo afloat, he had to make deals with Black Monday. So, he had to destroy the orphanage so that a resort could be built and all the power could be his. He'd have new infrastructure, so more money, and the Tojo clan would all be his. All of this so he could be Tojo clan chairman, but is that really what he wants? Before any of his schemes were revealed, we learned from a cutscene with him and him alone that he's an orphan, just like Kiryu. He had a father, but it was never meant to be as his father died of an illness. So Mine was alone now. And even before his father died, he was already kind of alone. None of the kids wanted to play with him because he was poor. And now that he didn't have a parent, for some reason these kids didn't want to hang out with him even more. It's really messed up stuff. These factors are important because he shows who he really is in the fight with Kiryu. After a huge crash out on his jet, Mine brought Daigo from his hospital room up to the roof to kill him, but instead just stood there with his unconscious boyfriend waiting for something to happen. He was waiting for Daigo to wake up from his coma. If it wasn't obvious, Mine loves Daigo. Loved by no one, needed by no one, no companion but your own loneliness. Mine's words. His only goal in life was money. The way he sees it, more money equals more friends, but that wasn't the case at all. Everyone saw him for only his money at that point. Except for Daigo, who was an all-around nice person to Mine. The only person that has ever seen Mine for more than his status or his usefulness. Daigo gave something worth more than any amount of money he could have made. Friendship. That was until Daigo was shot. Yeah, Mine kind of freaked out over that one a little too hard. Mine never had friends or family, so he didn't exactly handle grief like a normal person would. All of the schemes, all the elaborate plots, they were just a way to relieve himself of these feelings of grief, which is why he wanted to kill Koma Daigo, but even he knew this was wrong since he had the perfect opportunity to kill Daigo not even like an hour ago. Before Kiryu made it to Toto Hospital, Mine just sat there next to Daigo's comatose body because he wanted Daigo to wake up. I mean, come on, who moves a guy to the roof that you want to kill? He had every opportunity, but he never took it. He only attempted to kill Daigo once Kiryu provoked Mine. Mine's reasoning is he couldn't bear to see his idol in such a weak state, and if Daigo were to die by his hands, he could preserve Daigo's legacy himself by taking reins of the Tojo. This was his version of compassion. Mine's conversation with Kiryu in this scene is awesome. His off-the-wall cynicism versus Kiryu's optimism is so cool to see. Especially since Mine's cynicism is just a facade, a wall that he keeps up for himself. Compared to every boss that has fought Kiryu on this list, none of them have challenged Kiryu's view on life. Some of them even have similar perspectives, but not Mine. Both orphans, both given a crappy chance at life. It really is sad because Mine didn't have people like Kiryu did. Kiryu is like a window into what Mine could have been had he made different decisions in life or met people or been more trusting of others. It's also cool from Kiryu's perspective because Mine is sort of like a cautionary tale. Without pivotal figures in Kiryu's life, he may as well have turned out like Mine. Kiryu brings up the fact that Mine is just like everyone he hates, flawed and unreal. Someone who attached worth to something frivolous like money. Mine knows this but can't accept it. Kiryu knows all too well his words won't break Mine, so he'll have to break him the only way he'll understand. Mine laughs at this proposition but can't help himself to decline since he needs to prove he's right. Or else all the fortune and all the things that he's done up to this point just mean nothing. Mine is not exactly wrong for his skewed point of view on people in life. I like to believe he accepted this fight just so he can finally be proved wrong. This fight may have aged a bit in terms of gameplay, but man does it still stand out amongst most current Yakuza bosses because for one, Fly is the best freaking boss theme right next to a scattered moment. It really is cool because despite Mine's cynicism, this song feels so alive and free. This fight also really set a standard for future boss fights by being one of the first intro boss fight scenes too. And despite the fact that it is one of the first dynamic intros, it is so unbelievably cool. They knew what they were doing with this. Mine and Kiryu coming at each other with flying kicks was so clean. So clean in fact that RGG tried to replicate that same energy to this day. Mine's motivations and strength really show off well here. His attacks might look a little goofy here and there, but I think that really shows how close to Kiryu he is in terms of skill, especially just like our previous boss, Shibusawa. Mine can freaking style switch. He is one of the first bosses to be able to style switch. This set a new precedent for the games too. This also comes back in like Ishin and freaking, what was it, Zero? He doesn't switch after his health's gone down to a certain level either. He could just switch whenever, which is just so cool since he is one of the first to do so. And in hindsight, it really says a lot about Mine's potential since that is where Kiryu canonically starts out in Zero. Just a plucky fighter who picked up as much as he possibly could before the big fight with almost no hope of winning. Despite it all, Mine lost the fight both philosophically and in the fight, but besides Nishiki, Ryuji, and Shibusawa, Mine actually left some decent damage on Kiryu after the fight. He even had Kiryu take a knee afterwards. I say big props to him just for that alone. Mine takes his time to finally reflect on everything now that he's got all of his rage out. Sadly, he's hit with a reality check when his secretary asks him about a business deal instead of how he's really feeling, and the sad part was, it proved Mine right in his mindset, but it also confirmed Kiryu's point of view. Mine's vanity is what led him down this life path. Not that people are untrustworthy or greedy. He never relied on anyone, never trusted anyone, only the power of money. Mine finally realized his fatal flaw as a person. Finally, he is at peace. After letting go of his hatred for people's inherent flaws, he also let go of the hatred of himself. I can't help but relate to him in that regard, despite how basic of a social skill it is to understand that. After this obvious realization, he dies. He dies protecting someone he could finally trust, more than anyone else, and paid for what he's done. Showing his guts as not just a Yakuza, but a man. Mine's death, despite being ruined by a stupid retcon, still carries some weight. For one, the Tojo actually started to collapse once he died, so his death was also the death of the Tojo, as you cannot run a big organization without those fat stacks. It's kind of funny looking on it, but it really is the truth because, like, the Tojo immediately ran into a money shortage, and this eventually leads down to the downfall of the Tojo. Two, this is kind of a personal thing for me, but I like to believe his death is what truly cemented Kiryu's outlook on life, which is, for better and for worse. I like to think that Kiryu's, set in his ways view in 4 and 5 is mostly because of Mine. Some evidence is Kiryu still carries his memory in his fist and his essence move in Infinite Wealth. And 3, Mine just set a standard for this series, both mechanically and badassery. You really can't talk about Yakuza 3 without Mine, in all honesty. Those two are just coincide with each other. He really feels like the face of that game, for the most part. I really wish he didn't die. He would have been such a good ally down the line. Could you imagine had Mine not died? It's not that the Tojo also would have survived, it's just that there would have just been a really great, secondary character and everything for the cast to interact with, because, Mine had the potential to become a actual, genuine good guy, and that is disappointing. Look, all I'm saying is, if he had the strength to Nelson hold Andre for that long to get a good speech out before dying, I am very much sure he could have pushed him off the roof. But I guess Mine was too zenned out for that or something. I don't know. Maybe he just really wanted to die. Who knows? Kiwami 3 or Dark Ties might retcon the death. It didn't stop them anywhere else.
Oh, finally. I thought it would never end.
Are you done yet?
Yeah, sorry. I just needed to let that all out. Sorry for leaving you guys in here for so long. See you guys in the next one.